Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Show Trading Idea with Smart Robbie. I'm your host, Martin Wong. Now, the news that has come down to both the share market, both the KLSC, as well as the world of cryptocurrency over the weekend hasn't been very easy for most investors. Of course, for those of you who are trading, definitely you may have to take a position and exit some of your trade, especially in the cryptocurrency where we've seen it has gone sky high and since now has started to crash down due to the regulatory clampdown both in China as well as in India, plus a couple of bits from Elon Musk. Now, what do we have for you this morning? So don't go away, and we will be discussing some of the highlights of the news that we have this morning. That's right. Now, this morning in our breakfast show, definitely something I want to touch on is our local Malaysian politics now. All right. So let's get down to our Malaysian politics in here. And let me just get down to getting this slide correctly. That's right. So this morning is definitely our Monday. That's right. Now, Monday, usually we touch on the beginners level. So beginners level, we normally take at some of those Pentagon guidance. Now, do take note, considering the market that we have right now, the very seem to be bearish, everything turning down. And last Friday, we have a sell-off. But this morning, we're definitely going to be looking at what in store for us by looking at the Pentagon guide for our KLCI. But just before that, of course, let's look at our morning roundup first, right? And not forgetting is our continuing promotion for our iPad giveaway, which is still available right now. And all you need to do is to submit your best trade. Now, let's look at the news, what we have this morning. Now, this morning, I said that I'm going to be looking at Robbie Chat here. And let's look at the top menu and the KLCI market right now, switching to a wider chart. And basically it tells you, you can see from the chart wise here, let's take a look at it. And it has broken the ATR stop loss. Now remember, the ATR stop loss that you see on the, okay, let me just hit that again. All right, on the right hand side of the screen, that red line, that horizontal red line, it's the line that price must stay above. So eventually when you break big in, means most of the stocks, if you are trading for the shorter terms, you need to exit. So we do have that support, the old support at 1560. Everything's still pointing downwards from in here. It's going to be looking bearish from right now, but we will look at some of the news report that will support, or will it push it down further. Definitely first one that you see here, the banks remain resilient. Now, why is that important? Now, having said that, let's also take a look before we jump on to the bank sectors. And this morning, what do we have? Has significantly sort of very active your local suspect, Grand Flow, LKL. There was a news there, Chubi, which is I believe is not mistaken, this is a metal play, a pharma, of course, of the vaccine, high tech, UWC, or those that started to move up the tech stocks. So that's pretty good. And you can see some of the big decliners are Yinsun, the oil and gas inside. So always, every morning when you have a chance, always take a look at the decliner and sort of piece in together which sector do they come from. Of course, we do have the hot sector on the bottom right hand side. You can also check out what is currently in play. Now let's get back to this news where we talk about the bank remaining resilience. Now because banks usually consider almost 30% of the KLCI. So as long as news like this continue to be positive, there will be support. So if you look at this morning, right now you can see here, market is up 11 points, okay, because of the big sell-off that we have last Friday. So it didn't fall, so which means there is support. Bobs back down to 60, 70, like the last support that we're seeing right now is back to just above me is 1574. Now, the key news from the banking sectors seems to be very positive is the auto and home loan, right? And due to the more stimulus that's going to be rolled out during this MCO 3.0, we do know over yesterday, we have one of the higher case, 6,900 cases. And if you look back, which I did talk about early on in some of my Saturday talk, it's also due to the Raya. I believe more people are traveling, and then you have this period of 8 to 10 days from Hari Raya. So on the 14th and 15th, you add 8 or 10 days. So right now we are in the 24th and 25th will be one of the highest cases, and going forward we will hit 7,000 or 8,000 coming in here, and then we should be able to taper it off. Let's keep our finger crossed that this amount would be what we call in trading upthrust, and then we'll start to reverse downwards. Then we will have a better, more pleasant, controllable COVID cases in here. But on the side of the story in here, the banking resilience, they are talking about banks continue to hold its support. The loan growth are stagnant, meaning they are not really growing that much. They're still remaining to be positive, not in the worst situation in here. And let's look at the banking stock. For, of course, the more popular one will be Maybank. Okay, and let's look at Maybank. And those of you who want to have, let's look at the stock comment and charts here. So you see Maybank in here did had a green pentagon hitting $8.40, and then quickly profit taking coming in here. Let's look at another one, CIMB Banks. Okay, CIMB Bank will be very, very similar too. You can see, right, goes up, pull back, and let's look at the stock price should be up this morning. Yep, that's right, 0.2%, and that somehow provide the basis of it. Right now, some of you may ask me which are the better banks in here. Of course, my favorite, which I do have, based on fundamental in here, if you look at it, usually is the one that have the best setup right now. All right, I do have some stock on public bank in here, small position in here, being the most cost efficient. And you can see, let's look at the stock fundamental for public bank. It is not cheap. That is why it's rated 1 in here. With a ROE of 11%, a P of 15 times, it does gives you this stock not really a value. So early on it was, okay, but right now it is not. All right, let's move on to our next story. So our next story will be on the opinion of fund manager in here. Now, earlier on, I did give you my prognosis of the KLCI. It's not going anywhere as such. Many fund managers are similar in their opinion to a mixed view, and one of the big fund managers that usually get quoted in the press is that they have not changed much, focusing on quality stocks, which means buying those has fallen a fair bit, which have slightly better ratings, good support in here, or perhaps getting a bit more dividend, which we will look at one of the stocks in one of our slides later on in here. So next story will be the ringgit. Those of you who have sort of moved on your investment towards the Singapore or US market, and don't forget, right now we do have this beta launch on top of me, Smart Robi for US S&P 500 and also SGX. So those are sort of ideas for you to start taking look at perhaps doing cross-border investment in there. And some of our talks, we do talk about how you can open up an account, and of course your existing broker can also help you too. But on this news itself, we can see ringgit continue to be weakened, 4.12 to 4.16, and going forward with the prolonging of MCO 3.0, let's hope not, then you would see the continued ringgit. Well, how bad it will get? I think possibility of hitting 4.2. The panic button will be 4.25. That's where I think some intervention is needed, and more news will start to cover in here. But definitely right now, the ringgit looks set to weaken. As I said before, many of times our ringgit are really pegged to the Chinese yuan in here. So take note of that one. In future, some of our weekend workshops, I will highlight to you those relationship. Now let's move on to our next story. So our next story is about something I talked about last Saturday, about financial wealth planning. And those of you who have came to last Saturday, I think we had a good time. We did a lot of exercises, case study, and in a way it also rhymed right now, working during retirement, that we talk about, semi-retirement or keeping the mind working. Of course, this article did talk a lot about, doing some sort of a second career job, doing consulting, but they really miss out one, which is actually investment. That's right. So you can see even in media itself, a lot of time people don't talk so much about learning how to invest, which is, I think many of the audience who do come on Saturday do agree. Some of these should be school education, and I believe so. And learning, knowing your number, how much you need to retire, how much is your allowable monthly expenses they can use, whether you semi-retired or mini retirement, all right, or just sort of working. I think that's some of the basis. And those of you who have emailed me, wanted a copy of the financial template, we are setting out to send out to you, those of you who registered last Saturday, either today or tomorrow. So check out your WhatsApp, and if you do pencil in and give us a good feedback in our WhatsApp news, or even post it up on our Google, Facebook. And thank you for those of you who came last Saturday. And we will, going forward, together with Smart Robbie, going to US market and SGX, more of those free workshops to help you and plan better. All right, let's move on to the next section in here, which is along the line of the retirement, is definitely what we talk about right now, the dividend. That's right. Now, BJ Toto, right it or not, a lot of people always say that this is one of those senior people like to buy. Of course, for our Muslim friend, this is not a halal stock. So anyways, it's upbeat. One of the reasons why they are upbeat is definitely, if you look at the chart wise, you can just type it in here, B Toto, okay, T-O, BJ Toto. Okay, you can see that one. Okay, hit that one. And let's look at the stock chart here. So definitely, if you look at the stock chart and stock comment, you can see, wow, this one in here, pop, all the way down. So sometimes, you just don't want to buy buta. When analysts talk about this, you don't look at the chart, then you will suffer. No. So what you want to do is just use a trading plan that we have in here, and if not, just wait for the green pentagon and just check it out every day. So let's look at the stock fundamental and check out the dividend in here. Dividend is just a pantry 3%. I think there are better dividends out there. I think something we did talk about last week. Remember, last Saturday, some of those 4 US dividend stocks that we talked about, which is compelling, which have very, very good trend up. And again, US market being very positive and also pay a decent dividend. And it's definitely a good brand name. So watch out for the PDF that we will send to you, those of you who came last Saturday. So on this news, you can see the BJ Toto with the FA rating of just 1 star. Okay, so 1 star, not so good in here, and it can do better, of course, going forward in here. All right, let's move on to our next section in here, and this is projecting a dividend yield at 8% for the financial year. But right now, based on the price, it is giving 3% only. So on 8%, which means they are anticipating higher payout, right? Higher payout on the dividend. Maybe that will revert the stocks, what we saw from a downtrend to an uptrend. But anyway, just wait for the green pentagon for B Toto. Now, on moving over to our OC short, definitely is the US stock, which pointing to slightly higher. Now, US, having said that, despite the volatility that you've seen and the news continue to flood the market about inflation, and I did talk about it also to our members last week about inflation. This continued to be the main staple or the main theme that many people are talking about. And also what's also happening is the cryptocurrency which has fallen a fair bit over the weekend. That's right. So as I said before, those of you who have cryptocurrency, I'm still a big believer in cryptocurrency, just like gold and anything else. But remember, cryptocurrency is not supported by any central banks, so it is left to the devices of whoever has the most influence. And right now, Elon Musk seems to be at the most influence. And then also the regulator in China and India. And those news who tends to spend out, then we will see a lot of this big volatility. But like it or not, the cryptocurrency, it's very volume based, which means climatic volume. Normally we'll see those market tend to move sideways, more sideways, and you need to buy on bad news. So that is very, very, very positive from a standpoint of VSA. Those of you who are trading the cryptocurrency, of course, those of you who have the plugin for the Trade VSA, do trade and look at the hourly chart or using the intraday chart and plan your entry. Okay, a very nice swing that you can, but definitely right now it is going down in here. You just need to wait for the green pentagon on the hourly chart and maybe plan your entry for that one. We will cover maybe cryptocurrency in another session in here, but right now the US Dows, the index are showing correction coming in, and also the UX wicks, the volatility index, are one of the high around the 20s in here, and definitely tonight will be interesting to see how it is. But overall, the Dow Jones and the US market is still trending up in the high trend as the economy is opening up. And remember, they talk about the 4th of July economic reopening, and many of the housing data and also the job employments that are coming out continue to be positive. Okay, and let's look at the past leader of our Pentagon Guider, for especially those of you who are first time here. We continue to pick some good winners way back in March. Of course, right now with the market weaker, a lot of these tend to stagnate a bit in here. Again, some of these focus on quality stocks, like just some of the fund managers that we talked about early on in the early story in here, and very, very similar too. Let's talk about our last weak trade idea, MISC, which is a transportation in here. It has gone down slightly, actually. It's gone down slightly here. And let's take a look at the chart. Let me just bring this up here. All right, so MISC. So last week, MISC was 14, somewhere around here. 14, right? And then we have a long holiday. Okay, 14 here. And it hit uptrust. Every time when it hit uptrust, this is where the weakness will set in. You can see weakness setting in. Now we have a red pentagon. Of course, the ATR stop loss still remain around 653 in here, which does tell you this market will continue to move sideways and test. MISC being a decent, I wouldn't say it's a real. Let's take a look at MISC. All right, whether it's a good quality by looking at the fundamentals. MISC hit that one. And let's look at the fundamentals. And you can see ROE isn't that fantastic. It's just rated 2. We need to have at least 3 for being some sort of a quality move of a stocks in here. So right now, if you have MISC, just hold on to it. And as a trade idea, and look at the stop loss at 650. It may move sideways for a while. We were expecting for it to pick a bit higher, but then again, with the backdrop of what you've seen with the MCO 3.0, everything also gonna move sideways for the time being. All right. So let's look at the next story that we have for you, which is more of the trade idea for the 24th of May, episode 73 here right now. Now, so you can see right now is, let's look at BAT. BAT here. For our, wow, this BAT is one of the really nice value dividend recovery. I will still remember dividend way back was around $45. Now BAT has definitely dropped down to $15, $16. And continue to make new high in here. As you can see, BAT do appear twice in our the Pentagon alert here, right? The Pentagon. So right now you can see Pentagon continue to move much higher. So this is one of our earlier picks in here, Pentagon Guider for BAT. All right. Okay. So take note of this one here, BAT. Now let's move on to our next segment. All right. So next segment is probably going to talk about, you know, the reason why we do what we do, and gonna do with a lot about bringing that return, required rate of return to hit the amount that you needed every month. Now, in the 2020, our back testing did produce 106% on the backdrop of 35,000% in here. And right now, just updated from last week, we are still at 13.3% with a win rate of 67%, and compared to a minus 3%, minus 3% for KLCI. So we are still beating it by almost 16% in here. Of course, last year was a better year. Right now, knowing that market is down, but our Pentagon Guider portfolio with Smart Robi and also our trade-in package continue to hold its level at 13.3%. So the question I'm going to ask you, how is your portfolio faring? Are you doing the right thing? If not, what do you need to do to fill up that gap and continue to do well? Increase your skill, improve your mental preparation. Do consider some of those things that I talk about, factors that will help you to improve. Now, of course, going forward, learning the charts is important in here, and usually all our Pentagons will begin with a line change in here. Of course, do look at some of the tutorial, like the things that we talk about, uptrust, sign of weakness, and watch this video here. All right, now we're going to come to the so-called stock trade idea we want to review some of the stocks that you have. Of course, usually we given priorities to our Google Play Store and also our Play Store fans, as well as our top fans, those of you who have supported in here. Thank you to KK, and the whole list is up there in here. All right, let's take a look at some of the stocks that you want me to look at. And of course, we really appreciate if we have been doing a great job. Please go over to Google Play Store and give us a rating so we can continue to get good feedback from all of you. All right, let's take a look at what we have here this morning. And okay, we don't have any so far. And okay, so far there's no stock trade in here, and despite what it is, a lot of those stocks, especially for value stock, this like BAT will do pretty decent well. Okay, I'm still waiting for some of you. Okay, first one I see Texcam. Okay, let's look at Texcam. Okay, Texcam has started, and do take note, Texcam early on, they broke through the ATR stop loss here. So that means you need to be out. So at times, ATR stop loss will be even earlier before the Pentagon guider. So this one right now, it's going to be very, very similar what we see for the KLCI, moving in a sideways market or downtrend, right? So next question you want to ask yourself is that, do you want to exit? If you don't want to exit, what is the imperative? That I know all of us don't want to cut loss. I think it's this obsession that we don't want to lose money, right? But bearing in mind what I've said before, the market seems to be looking very bearish. And if you have bought this stock based on trend, and usually if you have got in somewhere around here, 77 cents, you will be out at least at $1. But then again, most people, again, going back to the agenda, we talk about 2021 being a trend trader and a trend investor. Are you one of them? First question, are you one of them? Do you want to be a trend trader? If you want to be them, do you want to follow a plan? If you don't want to follow a plan, then usually we get somewhere, most people get in here. But right now, it's definitely going below $1. And let's look at the stock fundamental in here. PE is about 10 times. ROE is 4. Again, just only 2 star rating, not the kind of thing. All right, let's look at another one, LKL, from one of our members. Okay. So LKL looking pretty good. This is very nice. I said before, a nice pullback in here. There are a couple of good news. They're going into some functional food today on the news inside here. Whether you'll take off or not, now do take note. A lot of this news is already been priced in. It's not dropping, but it doesn't mean it's going to go up too. Just going to mosey along until something, and hopefully we have that kind of breakout. But the longer it moves upward, the faster it must move up. Okay, do take note of that one. There are a lot more coming in here. We're going to look at Lai here for being one of our top fans, and which is Edaran. Okay, Edaran, this is the kind of thing that we don't like to see when you have very, very long uptrust tail. So that means this market tak boleh jalan for the time being, because a lot of sellers is coming out. So that's quite important for you to understand why uptrust it is what it is. Okay, let's look at another one, Pensonic. Okay, Pensonic also break down already, not nice anymore. Same as what we talked about earlier on Texcam. Same kind of story. Do you want to hold it? Again, broke through below the ATR stop loss. So do you really want to hold this or not? All right. Let's look at others too. We have from this side here. Okay, we got people from. Okay, let's look at Top Fitters. Oh, Fitters looks pretty good. One of very decent in here. You can see from Green Pentagon, 23 cents. Wow, that's about 30% in here. Continue to make up movement here. Continue to run this. But the question is always, are you in yet? Right? Because by the time you spotted it, it's already here. So you got to follow the Green Pentagon. So the question is always going back to trend trader and trend investor. If you just merely react to the market, then you have to follow some sort of discipline of a plan, right? Again, I've talked about this last Saturday in our workshop in here. What is your overall goal there is a certain things you need to do to make money in the market. Now, if you have gone in during the first green Pentagon, then congratulate yourself. But if you're planning to go in, use the trading plan. In the case, what you need to do, follow the trading plan that we have on Smart Robi in here. But it's a nice one. I do hope you have gone in around 24 cents. All right. If not, do be careful. Usually, stocks like this will go through profit taking too. Let's look at Top Glove. Top Glove still okay. Still green Pentagon with blue trend zone in here. Just a nice slight pullback. That's fine. This stock is looking okay. Right, with the COVID cases that you've seen right now in here. Now, if you do like what you've seen so far, do share this video in your timeline and give us a thumb up, and continue to, if you find a good stock, do submit to our iPad marketing campaign, where you can win an iPad, or as well as the voucher of a 50 ringgit voucher in here. All right, so that's the stocks that I will cover for today. Really, thank you for coming, and we do have something for you this coming Wednesday. That's right, Wednesday night there will be our public talk, and we'll be talking about what to invest under 10,000 ringgit in the stock market. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not. All our materials or all our videos are archived there, so you can really follow out different topics, what are things that I've talked about, and really understand the market from a better perspective in here. And thank you again for your support for our Chat with Smart Robi campaign in here. Submit your best stock idea and win. All right, and for those of you who are first time, do join us in our Telegram chat room there, or share with your friends so they can also learn from this market. And don't forget, coming Wednesday is our Wednesday night talk. I'll see you 9:30 p.m. in here, if not sooner, on the next breakfast show at 10:15 on Wednesday. Thank you, bye-bye, and thank you for your support. And I hope today you have an enjoyable day for the remaining of the day, and good day to you.